I think Golden State got a little bit exposed tonight in terms of how to play against them. Tonight, Draymond Green had a tough time with Zach Randolph, a traditional power forward, not a stretch four like Draymond Green. So when you're playing against the Golden State Warriors, if you can take Draymond Green out of the game, obviously Steph Curry is important. That's what teams are going to try to utilize in terms of minimizing Golden State's production. So when they play against the Los Angeles Clippers, Blake Griffin. The San Antonio Spurs, Tim Duncan. LaMarcus Aldridge from the Portland Trail Blazers, they're going to try to really attack Draymond Green.
So the last time the Golden State Warriors lost, that was November 11th when they played the Spurs. But Tuesday, the Grizzlies went on a 20-0 run at the start of the second quarter. The Warriors just couldn't recover. Memphis shot 8 of 10, including 3 three-pointers by Vince Carter. Should note Steph Curry was on the bench that entire run. After the game, Steve Kerr said they punched them in the mouth and they just could not recover. Joining us now is our NBA analyst, Tim Legler. It's been a minute, Legs. Welcome back to the show. Happy to have you.
Thank you. Good to be back.
We are putting the Golden State Warriors on the hook. You heard what Avery Johnson, our other analyst, had to say. Do you believe Coach was right? Were they exposed last night?
I wouldn't say that, and I'll tell you why. It's one thing to say, this is the way you have to play Golden State. It was effective. Problem is, not everybody has that kind of personnel. And that's why when you say a team is exposed, to me, you say here's a formula that every team can employ every night against the Golden State Warriors. Not every team has the makeup that Memphis has. You look at some of the other power forwards he mentioned. A big part of LaMarcus Aldridge's game, for example, Dirk Nowitzki's game, is shooting jump shots. That's going to play into the hands of a smaller lineup. You can get away with a Draymond Green or a Harrison Barnes on him. One of the things that's great about Golden State is they've got 5 guys, 6'6" to 6'8". That gives them great versatility defensively. All of them play heavy minutes. They can switch a lot of things, and they get away with it most nights because a lot of teams in this league have front court players that are perimeter-based players. Memphis is different. So just to say this is it, this is how you beat the Golden State Warriors, not every team has the makeup of this team. They also didn't have Andrew Bogut last night. David Lee, I don't know when he's coming back, but Andrew Bogut, it would have made a difference in this game. There's no question about it. So they were shorthanded. They did a great job, I thought, physically on the guards for Golden State more than anything else in taking away space from Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. They stayed connected to those guys the entire night, and they made them, and it wore on them, their legs. Steph Curry goes 1 for 10 for the three-point line. He missed a few good looks. Most of them were because of Memphis's defense. So it's one thing just to say this is the game plan. Well, you better have the personnel and the inclination defensively to execute that, and offensively, and Memphis had it last night, but not every team in the Western Conference does.
So it's not, they weren't exposed. There's no plan that was in place that'll...
No. Golden State is a team, look, what are they 16 straight games good? Are they 21-2 good? Are they going to win 75 games? No, they're not going to.
Oh.
But I think Golden State is a team that's going to be right there in the top 2 or 3 all year in the Western Conference because they're an excellent defensive team. And we know what they can do offensively. They're very difficult to defend. Most nights, it's too much for teams. Memphis last night executed something very well on both ends of the floor against them. But I think there's some teams in the West that are going to have a harder time pulling that off when they play Golden State.
All right, Stephen A.
First of all, let's say a couple of things. Number one, saying things would have been different if Andrew Bogut was in the game is like saying, you know what, I'd be happy during a blizzard if I was in the islands. I mean, who the hell doesn't know that? So what? I mean, you can't rely on Andrew Bogut, okay, who's been bogus most of his career. That's right.
You just had to throw that out.
I had to throw that out.
My day would not have been complete.
Is he from Australia? Wherever he's from.
He's from the land down under.
The land down under. They like me down there, but he doesn't. He called me.
They like you?
Yeah, they love me. They actually had me on a New Zealand radio show down there all the time. But they actually, Andrew Bogus actually called me, what he called me, a wonker or whatever? I don't know what that is.
A wonker?
I think it's a jerk down there.
Yes, it is.
So you call him bogus, and he calls you a woman.
Listen. Hey, I'm not mad at it. I was actually flattered by that insult, to be quite honest with you. I'm a different breed. But the point is, I said what I said about him because he's usually unproductive or he's hurt, okay? And hurt far longer than some people think he should be. I didn't say that. Teammates told me that. He'll have to get over that. In the end, here's the bottom line. If he is healthy, he does make a difference because he knows how to play a little bit defensively. I didn't call him a scrub. I said he's unreliable. There's a difference. The point that I'm trying to make to you is that, with all of that being said, a game like last night is the biggest kind of game that he's needed for outside of San Antonio. okay? Because obviously Golden State hadn't lost since they lost to San Antonio. Memphis's last loss was to San Antonio. But when you look at this Memphis Grizzlies squad, here is the beauty of it. And my man, my partner in crime here would agree with me on this.
I thought I was your partner.
Well, that's every day, but this is when it comes to the NBA. This is, I mean, we go back a ways. The point is, we go back the ways, man.
Yeah.
But here's the deal. When you look at Memphis, one of the things that they're incredibly skilled at, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, is that they're old school, Skip. They defend, they get in your face, they bang you, and more importantly, they make you play their brand of basketball. The reason why I never think about Memphis is because I always know that their roadblock is San Antonio, because they can't make San Antonio do what they want them to do. And more importantly, even if San Antonio elected to, they could beat you at their own game because they have the Duncans combined with the Tiago Splitters of the world and people like that with Greg Popovich coaching. So because of
Mills from Australia,
that's right.
too.
But I'm saying, because of that, it's an adjustment for them. But with Memphis, against almost anybody else, they can make you adapt to what they're doing. And Draymond Green, for example, everybody talking about he had a bad game. You heard Coach A.V. Johnson point it out. Draymond Green had 5 blocks last night. Golden State had 11 blocks. But in the end, they was still, the bench came off. I know the 20-0 run. Vince Carter, there was a sighting. He had three big three-pointers in the second quarter. But when you've got Gasol and Zach Randolph, it doesn't always show up in the stat box, Skip. They bang you all night long. And by the time the fourth quarter comes around, it's difficult to lift your arms up. You're tired, more tired than usual. You know, Zach Randolph, he's just leaning on you. For no reason, he comes out. Tell me I'm wrong. Tim. For no reason, Skip, he comes out of the court. He don't have anything to do with the play. The ball ain't even past half court yet, and he just leaning on you. He's a big boy, about 260. Yeah. It wears on you. That's how Memphis wears you down with their defense and their physicality. That will be a problem for Golden State. I don't think Golden State was exposed because of Memphis. I think everyone knows they play exceptional defense. They're long and athletic, and they could shoot lights out on offense. The problem is you don't have a big boy to really offset the physicality some teams are going to throw at them when Bogut is out. Because Spates ain't going to be enough, and that's your problem.
Okay, even without Bogut and even without David Lee last night, Golden State won the backboards 49-48. Not bad. Right. You survived. You held your own.
But
okay, well, okay.
They were worn down.
But you brought up 11 blocks by Golden State, only 4 by the big bangers from Memphis, right? Okay, so you held your own in there. Points in the paint, 50-50. You held your own in there, okay? So those aren't getting exposed stats. This one is. If Golden State has a flaw, this is just me, and this is in part psychologically, Golden State lives and dies by Steph Curry's three-point shots. It's psychological and statistical. But when he goes 1 for 10 now, 1 for 10, and again, you make a great point. They were all over him. They're trying to run him off the three-point line. But I have seen nights when other teams try to run him off the three-point line, and to use your word, he just boogies on everybody. And when he starts making them, as a very good three-point shooter in his day can tell you, when they're going, they're just going. And it doesn't matter. When Nick Young the other night against the Spurs, my God.
He's on fire.
I mean, Ginobili's all over him from 40 feet, and he has to reroute the shot. And he says, I knew it was cash money.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
From 40
That's
feet,
okay. I'll take the win.
But some nights, you know what Steph can do? 1 for 10 will get it done. So just do the math. If he hits 4 for 10 last night, they win the game. So to me, the Spurs won at Golden State. You brought it up November 11. Steph Curry went 0 for 7 in that game at home. So the crowd's like, no. No. You know how they are. They just explode off his three-point shots, even more than off Clay's three-point shots. So if you can make him go 1 for 10, and it might be him making himself go, you know, maybe he just didn't feel it that night. As you know, sometimes it just doesn't quite come off your hand correctly. That's how you beat this team, because they really... they hang their hat on those three-point shots. It excites, it brings up everybody. But they play harder on defense when he's making threes, and you can't win a game when he goes 1 for 10 on the road at a place where they have the best home record in the NBA, right?
You're right about that, and to both of you guys kind of tying this together, Memphis last night, they have guards that have the want to to execute the game plan. Mike Conley, even Beno Udrih, who's not known as a great defender.
Good pickup, though.
Was picking up Steph Curry right over half court.
Yeah.
Because he's saying, I'm not going to lay back and get hit with a screen and you hit a 25-foot jumper on me. I'm going to pick you up, get in your hip, and now I'm counting on whoever's guarding this screener, you better be up to make sure he doesn't pull up and hit a shot, and that's where Gasol was, Randolph was, John Lord was out there, Tayshaun Prince, whoever it was, because they said, you're not going to get space.
Sure.
Because you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
When they hit a couple of those, it turns into a barrage of threes, and they shoot you out of the game. Now, one way you can look at this, Steph Curry had the night he had, and this is a one-possession game with 3 minutes to go.
That's true.
In Memphis.
I would say
that's why I don't think they've been really exposed.
They haven't been exposed, but again, you know to get physical with them, and some teams adjust to it better than others. Golden State is not one of those teams. I'm of the belief this is how good Memphis is. I picked the Clippers, obviously, because I think it's their time and their athleticism, especially with what DeAndre Jordan can give you. Even though Hawes, I might have to change my pick because Hawes went down. Is he out for this? I think he's out for the season. I mean, that's a devastating loss for the Clippers because I love to pick up of him because he can shoot from the perimeter, spread the floor, and give Chris Paul more room to operate. Without that, you're back to DeAndre Jordan again. Plus, they need another 3.
Yeah, they have zero depth up front.
And they have so that's a problem. So I might have to modify that pick.
Okay.
But I would tell you this, Skip. If it were not for San Antonio, you could legitimately pick the Memphis Grizzlies to win it all. I mean, when you look at Mike Conley, first of all, Mike Conley, he's just not flashy and not a star. But this dude plays on both ends of the floor. I love Mike Conley. Tony Allen, you know how we feel about Tony Allen. Nothing but guts. Those two? I don't care what guard tandem you bring me in the league, outside of Russell Westbrook, who also deserves to be a league MVP candidate, by the way.
We'll talk about him in a little bit.
Tony Allen and Mike Conley, Lord, they can get up in you.
Yeah.
They can get up in you.
Memphis is on the short list.
Yes, they are.
For sure.
Yes, they are.
All right, so Legs, we got to have you back sooner than later, but before we let you go, do you just want to make a bold prediction? Who wins the West?
San Antonio. San Antonio.
Oh, wow, that's so bold.
We'll be back in a 5. What do you want me to say?
I'm just saying, man.
Do you want
She
me
asked you bold.
Sons are gonna shock
I'm just
the
saying, she
world.
asked you bold. You know what I mean? You could have said it's not really bold.
I'd
San
rather be
Antonio.
accurate than bold.
I'm
All
just
right,
saying.
wait, I'll be bold. I believe the San Antonio Spurs will win the West.
Okay.
I'm saying, y'all didn't.
Are you on record with the Clippers?
I was at the beginning of the season. Yes, I was.
We're walking it back.
Well, that was
Legs,
before-
it's been a pleasure.
Great seeing you.